Okay, so on to my C names. My first C name for a girl is Cadence. Cadence can be a girl or a boy name. It's a unisex name, but I prefer it as a girl name. Next is Corey Ann. And Corey Ann is a name that I like better than Carrie Ann. Carrie Ann is okay, but it's close to what a lot of people mistake my name for, except for the Ann part. And Carrie Ann would be nicknamed as Carrie, and Carrie is a lot of times what people think my name is when I say my name. So I don't want something close to my name. But Corey Ann, I like, and I'm okay with the nickname Corey for Corey Ann, but I like Corey spelled with an I instead of a Y in this aspect. Next is Cambry. And Cambry is a name that I recently started liking. The big problem if I had a daughter named Cambry, I think, is I have a brother who hates the name Cambry. Absolutely hates it. Because he knew a Cambry and they didn't get along. So that could be a little bit of a problem. Next is Charlene. Charlene is an old-fashioned name that I think is really cute. I read a book called Charlie, and it was made into a movie where the character's name was Charlene, and she went by Charlie. I don't really like the nickname Charlie for a girl, so if I had a daughter named Charlene, she'd go by Charlene. At least, again, by me, she'd go by Charlene. Unless she told me she wanted to go by Charlie, or Charlie, either way. Next is Caddy, spelled C-A-D-D-I-E, which can also be pronounced Katie, but I like the Caddy pronunciation. Then we have Carlin. Carlin is a name that I heard when I was in high school. I had an acquaintance named Carlin that I thought was an interesting name. Then we have Colleen, like Charlene. Colleen is a classic old-fashioned name. I associate Colleen a lot with the character of Colleen on the TV show Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. Then we have Colette. Colette is, I think it's French. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it sounds French to me anyway. And it's very soft and feminine and pretty. And then there's Cecily. Cecily is a name that I heard in high school from one of my classmates and liked it. Then there's Chelsea. Chelsea is a name that I prefer the spelling spelled with a Y, and that's probably because I have a couple friends named Chelsea and they both spell their name with a Y, so that's the most familiar for me way of spelling it. Also with the A, to me it looks like Chelsea. So I prefer the Y spelling, but Chelsea is a name I like. And then there is Kaylee. Kaylee commonly is spelled with a K, but I saw the spelling of it Cailee, and I fell in love with that spelling. And so I liked, Kaylee is a name that, I sort of liked anyway, but I really like the spelling of that. And then there's Calandra. Calandra is a name that I first became aware of or heard of on a college graduation program of a friend of mine's. My friend's name was not Calandra, but there was a girl graduating from college whose name was her, whose name was Calandra, and I thought it was very pretty. Then we have Cassidy. Cassidy is another unisex name, and honestly, I think it sounds better as a girl name. I did know Cassidy that was a boy growing up, but I prefer Cassidy as a girl. Then there's Catalina. Catalea. Sorry, not Lena, but Leia. Catalea. Which is kind of like a variation of Catalina, but instead of Catalina, it's Catalea, who I think is a much prettier name. And then last but not least is Caitlin. It's Caitlin is spelled with the C-A-T-L-Y-N instead of the more common way. For boys, my first C name is Clayton. I don't really like the name Clay, but I do like Clayton. And then number 2 is Camden. And Camden is a name that I have liked for a while. Also could be associated with the Camdens from the TV show Seventh Heaven. Next is Clint. Clint is a name that I started liking when I watched the movie Love Me Tender by that has Elvis Presley in it. Elvis Presley's character is Clint Reno in the movie, and I am a huge Elvis Presley fan. So that's where the name Clint comes from in my list. Then we have Colin. Colin is a name that I've liked for a long time. And as I've stated before, I'm not really big on naming future kids after people I'm close with, either family or close family members, because I don't want the expectation of that's who they're named after, and that's the reason, unless it's someone I don't personally know. Like if it's a character I like or a historical figure I like, I'm okay with it. But Colin, I had a really, really good friend named Colin, and he helped me through a really couple difficult things last year. So I would probably name a kid Colin in the future, because I don't have a lot. Well, I could probably not. I would probably, but I could probably, because I don't have a lot of contact with my friend Colin anymore. But if it's still someone I'm very close to, or I have a high respect or admiration, not as likely to if it's someone I personally knew. Next is Colby. Colby can also be spelled with a K, but I prefer the C spelling. Then we have Charles. Unlike Charlene and Colette and Colleen, it's a very old-fashioned sounding name. Also, it's a name I started liking when I started watching the TV show Little House on the Prairie. I'm a huge fan of Michael Landon, and it's also one reason I like Bonanza. But he plays Charles Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie. Charles Ingalls was also a real-life person. He is the father of Laura Ingalls Wilder. Then we have Calder. Calder is a name that I just thought sounded really kind of cool and interesting. I also know someone whose last name is Calder. So then we have Cole. Cole is just a name that I started liking a long time ago, and it's just a name that I thought was really sweet, kind of cool. Connor is also another name that I've liked for a really long time. Craig. Craig is one of those names where, when I was making the list, I was trying to find C names that I thought could possibly make good names for the future if I decided to name a son with the first letter of C. I do like Craig. Craig is cute. Then we have Callum. Callum is a Scottish name. It was popular in around 2014, and it means dove, and I just kind of like the meaning of that. It's interesting. You don't hear a lot, or I don't necessarily associate a lot of boy names with meanings of a bird. It's more, to me, is a little bit more girly that way, but it's still cute. Then you have Cameron. My oldest brother was almost Cameron. Not Cameron, but it almost was. And it's just a name that I think is really cute. Cameron nowadays is more popular for girls, but I think it's cuter and suits better for a boy. Then you have Carlisle. Carlisle is just, to me, it sounds sophisticated and intellectual, but it's still like very fun and cute for a little boy, and for an older man. I don't really know about someone my age how cute it would be, but I don't know. I think if it suits a little kid, it should suit an adult too. Then you have Carrington. Carrington, I actually really like the name Carrington. I don't know why I'm kind of on this Arrington or Ington phase right now, but I kind of really am. And the only problem I have with Carrington is that he'd probably be nicknamed Carrie, and I'm not a big fan of the nickname Carrie for a boy, or the name Carrie for a boy. Then we have Carson. Carson is last on the list that I'm going to mention. And Carson, I went to elementary school with a guy named Carson, and I liked the name Carson for a while. And those are my C names.